Welcome back to my training. We're going to show you another trick with the mesh. This is a question that came up in one of my classes where they wanted to do blend shaped slats, and so this is my answer to the question. So there we go. So we're controlling the rotation of each of these. We're extruding the edges out, so we go to the surface, and it's a basic blend shape between two different objects. We'll also got a series of history, so actually the surface actually opens up. You can see it almost zips apart, which is kind of cool. So if you wanted to create a sort of a vent or hole in your scene, this would be a cool way to do it. Alright, well let's make it. So I'm going to do a new scene. I'll do it from scratch. So the first thing we need is a slat, and we're going to create individual objects for that. So the simplest way to do that is create a plane. Bring up the attributes of the plane, and I'm going to put in 25 across. Okay, so we don't want a square, we want a strip. So if we put these both to 1, we'll get a strip, and then we'll move that out to one side. Okay, so now we need to duplicate that. So let's do a simple duplicate special. Now I'd imagine it's got the settings I had before, so I'm translating it in one direction, which is Z, because I work with X, Y, Z as the other direction, and whichever way it would be for you, and I'm doing 25, so it goes across. I think I only need 24, but 25, let's do it. Duplicate special. Okay, it went the wrong way. It went the other way. So let's do it again. There we go. Okay, so I've got one extra on the end of number 25. There we go. So we have 1 to 25 slots. Alright, it doesn't have to be 25, it's just that's what I've chosen. Okay, so now if I rotate these, you can see what we can do with them. So we can animate them in two different poses. So the first thing I'm going to do is select all of these, and I'm going to combine them into one mesh. Notice the transforms have been left behind, that's important. So this is going to be our base panel, so we'll just close panel, or pane, plan. Panel, there we go, I got the spelling right in the end. Not hard for my spelling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that because that's our first sort of close position. So we'll call that close. And this one, we're going to rotate these now. You can do J if you want to get exactly 90 degrees, which is that. And that's good. And we'll duplicate that and we'll call that one open. Alright. So we can take all the construction, which is this, and group it and hide it. Call it construction or workings. Okay, move that out of the way. Okay, so we've got two bit of positions, open and close. So I assume close is default. So let's hide the open. Let's become our object. This is where we go to mesh. We go mesh utilities. We want the mesh blend deformer. So we hit that. So it doesn't look like it's done anything yet because we haven't actually hooked into it. So let's bring up the attribute of that. Now what it's looking for is going to look for a connection the object is going to blend to, which is our open. So we'll put that into there. And then we can literally just blend shape between the two. Very cool. Obviously we don't want a blend value of 1 all the places, we want it in an area. So to do that we'll use a fall off object. Let's just create one. Now initially the fall off object works on faces, which is the vertexes, and we're going to get the behavior we want. Now currently if I go to wireframe, these are all still effectively separate strips with edges. To show you what I mean, if I was to bring up the object's display, this one here, and we go mesh component, and we'd ask it to show borders, you'll see that the borders haven't been joined up yet. So the way we deal with that is we can do one or two things. We can select our blend shape, where is it, here, and change the strength to blend value strength 0, so you can see it will go out. And what we can do then is we can select all our vertices. You can double click on any. Oh no, we need to select them all by doing everything. And then we'll do shift right click and we'll do merge vertices. That's probably fine. Merge. So now if you do the display on the board, you can see it's only the edges are showing up. If I make that thicker, you'll see what I mean. Yeah, you see it under the edges. So what that means is when we go back to our object and put the value back, no, that's fine, that was all good. So put the strength back to 1. You see now if we go back to the shape of the object and we ask it to show us the edges, only where the splits are the edges occurring now, you see? So it's kind of kept that history alive, which is very cool. Alright, so the last thing remains is we want to select all our faces, and we're going to, obviously you can see I'm doing this at the flattened state. If I did this in another state, it wouldn't work, so we'll keep them flat like that. We'll do a simple extrusion, 0.1, and we'll make sure we've got a few divisions so we create effectively an edge. 4 is good. Okay, so now we bring our object up, our fall-off object, and we move it up. So, and we can hit 3 now on the keyboard on our object mode, 3. So that's me finish. We're after. You can see that. We've got what we want. Now it doesn't have to be a fall-off object. And just to quickly add something else in. So let's create a torus. This torus could be our activating object. How does that work? Well, we select our deformer connections. It says shape in. Okay, so we're going to make our torus our shape in. So now our torus is doing the activation of the fins. It's quite weird. It's a bit like it's being eaten. There we go. So you've got an even more elaborate version of the same thing. Thank you very much.